to throw some light on why we're doing this. We have been getting a whole bunch of queries related to small cases, what they're about, how do you go about like opening an account, how do you get started, how do you make a choice of investing in a small case, etc. Some of the questions that you all have already shared in the chat box here is a lot of stuff that we've been getting asked questions. And also, as a very exciting update, we are launching a small case on Basis in max 2 weeks from now. You should be seeing it on the app. But before which, we did want to introduce folks to small case for those who've not heard of it. For those who've heard of it, of course, you've probably explored it, like you were saying, not sure how I go about choosing a portfolio, etc. I'm seeing a question. Yes, Nikita will very quickly introduce Basis as well. So yes, guessing you are a Basis member. But Basis is India's financial services platform for women. We began with learning via communities and our whole, knowledge boosters, etc., that you might have seen and explored within the app. If you haven't already, please do that. We have over 30 knowledge boosters, an amazing format to get started on your learning about investment journey. The community also, as you might have seen, serves as an incredible place to ask questions, to just passively consume information or inputs that you're getting from others. We have the advisory section, which you typically lean on to get mutual fund advice. But very exciting updates. As you might have seen, we're launching our credit card, India's first credit card, actually built for women, by women also. So I think that really helps with the entire curation. And that went live about 10 days ago. You can get on the wait list. And as another quick update, which is why we're doing this session right now, where we're going live with Smallcase very shortly. But before we even do that, wanted to introduce you to it. How does it belong to your portfolio? When is the right time to start building, your funds or your portfolio through Smallcase? Like we saw a question, someone asking that I'm getting my first salary, which honestly I find very exciting. And just the fact that you're in this room thinking about what should I do with my money, with my first salary. So yeah, that's a very quick bit about Basis. My name is Dipika. I'm the co-founder and COO. I have Rujul with me here. Rujul is our product lead. So all the amazing experience that you see on Basis is yet courtesy her. We have Pavna from Smallcase with us this evening, who's been kind enough to walk us through what Smallcase is about, answer our questions, and all the other fun stuff. Before we continue, I do have one or two questions for y'all, and I'm just going to quickly go live with. I am going to go live with those questions, and it's going to take us probably 30 seconds. Would request everybody to just respond to this. Okay, a lot of you are here for the first time, and a lot of you have heard about Smallcase already and want to know more. Just going to give this like 4 seconds more and end this poll. This is just out of curiosity. Cool. Awesome. Okay. Yes, so it's like almost a 50-50, 50%, 55% of you are here for the first time. And yes, 70% of you have heard of Smallcase, which is a very good start for us. And yeah, Pavna, all on to you now. I'll manage the screen for you to just make your conversation a lot more efficient. And yeah, the floor is yours. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me today. And it's really wonderful to actually be amongst 39 wonderful women who are excited to learn about finance. And I'm sure looking at the questions, you already know a lot about finance already, right? Thanks to Basis. Now, I was not to sound very cliched, but I am one of those women who didn't know anything about finance, and today I'm fortunate enough to be taking this session, and I've learned enough throughout my journey. Right. So, Smallcase as a platform aims to simplify investing for people, and I'm one of the beneficiaries. Right. I've learned because I was there at Smallcase. So I'm gonna share my 2 cents that I know about this, and we can take this forward. If you could move to the next slide. Right. So very simply put, what are small cases? They're a basket of stocks or ETFs that track a relatable idea. Now, what do I mean by a relatable idea? Is now today, if you think of all of the rural economy that is improving, or budget happened, and in the budget they have allocated certain funds for affordable housing scheme. They've allocated funds for the electric vehicles, which is gaining a lot of focus in India. I'm sure you've heard of Ather. I'm sure you've heard of Ola going electric, right? So when people like you and me who aren't very well versed in the equity markets, what happens is that there are 1800 odd stocks on NSE alone, right? So NSE is like a marketplace, and you can go and buy or sell stocks over there. So in one market there are like 4 marketplaces like this, and I there are just 1800 stocks. Which do I buy? How do I know it will benefit from the electric vehicle theme that is running today, right? Which is where small cases come in. Small case has various research assistant research analysts who have offered their small cases on the platform, right? And what these small cases do is the stocks are put in each of these baskets that follow a particular theme. For example, electric mobility is one such small case that follows the electric vehicle ecosystem in India, and it has stocks that could benefit from this particular theme. Like this, there are over 700 small cases today, and obviously we are not going to overload you with all of them. My basis team is going to curate a list of small cases that you could benefit from, and that will be made available to you. So if there are any questions on what small cases are, please do let me know. I will, I'll be happy to explain it.
So I have one question here, Pavna, which we've actually got in the community before. So 2 questions actually. So when we're buying a small case, is this happening on the NSE or on the BSE? That's the first part of the question. And the second part of my question is, so when I'm investing in a small case, am I buying a fraction of the stock, or am I getting like an entire stock when I'm choosing a particular portfolio?
Got it. So on small case right now, we only have NSE segment. We do not have stocks that are part of BSE. And no, in India itself, fractional shares are not allowed. So whatever small case you're buying and whatever stocks are there within, all of that are going to be complete shares, and they will fall into your demat account of whichever broker you're tied up with. So today, small case has tied up with 14 brokers. They are, 10 of them are part of India's top 10 brokers that are there. And, you can choose any one of them to start investing in small cases.
Okay. So I see a question from Varna here, which is, what is the difference between a stock wealth basket and a small case?
So Wealth Basket is another organization just like Small Case, right? And but Small Case today, we will not, we will not discuss about the other organizations that are there, but we will focus on Small Case, and we will look
so it's
at
an alternative platform,
yeah,
right? Similar.
correct.
Okay, cool. I think that answered the question.
Yeah.
Tejani, we'll come to your question a little later once we're through the whole small case conversation at least. Jayati's question, I think, is very relevant here. Right. Are small cases different from mutual funds? And if yes, how are they different? It would be helpful, Bhavna.
Yeah. So if you could move a couple of slides forward, I think I have a slide on the difference. Yeah, right. So no, the previous slide. Right. Yeah. So why should you invest in small cases? Here I have put single stocks and small cases. Here itself I will explain the difference between small cases and mutual funds as well. Right. So now with small cases, you own all of the stocks that you have invested in, whereas in mutual funds you get units. So you don't really know what you're investing in, right? And even if you do know, you don't have the control to exit from a particular stock or to change the composition of your mutual fund, right? So that is first point. And third point, cost efficiency is another one. In small case, you only pay when you transact, right? So on most brokers, there is something called as a one-time fee that you have to pay when you invest in small cases. Apart from that, only if you transact, you'll pay brokerage, right? Versus mutual fund, what happens is from your capital, there is some amount that goes, but that comes with its own benefits. So nobody is saying that you should only invest in small cases and not mutual funds. Small cases and mutual funds can coexist. So you and other what do you call products like this as well. The differences here that we are saying is for you to have control over it, right? So mutual funds will give you the benefit that are that for somebody who does not want to be involved in the stocks and looking at what is there and not, you can invest in mutual funds, right? So on and so forth. So there are differences, and these are not necessarily benefits, but yeah, they will help you understand the differences that are there between small cases and mutual funds. So right.
So what
So
I'm hearing, Pavna, is there's a place for every, even while we're talking
correct.
equity investment, whether it's a mutual fund or whether it's probably stocks or whether it's small case, there's a place for each one of them in our portfolio.
Absolutely.
Okay, so not to break your flow, I'm just going to go back right to where we meant to start. So I'll pick up the questions. I'll pick up relevant questions when they make sense, and otherwise we'll take it late in the latter part of the conversation. Yeah, we can continue.
One slide back, please. I think there's one point that I want to. So small cases are an ideal long-term wealth generating platform or product, right? Because just like your stocks are for long term, small case also, because it is a basket of stocks, makes sense to be invested in it for long term. But if you are very involved in the investing process, if you are somebody who does stock trading on a daily basis, then it is possible for you to manage it for short term as well. That is completely left to you, how you want to manage small cases. Now, these three important features that I've put at the bottom is that gives you a complete overall bird view picture of the entire small case as a product and as a platform. So because each small case has a minimum of 2 stocks or ETFs, they are diversified in nature, and it can have a maximum of 50 stocks, which means that this diversification point that I saw earlier in the chat is covered already, right? And because you're diversifying in multiple either stocks, sectors, right, or is there somebody talking?
We'll just check that, Pavna. We'll just take care of that.
Right. So because you're investing in multiple stocks or ETFs, the risk that could come from a single stock or from a single company is offset, and hence your risk becomes lower, right? So small cases are diversified, and hence lowers the risk of investing in equities. And all the small cases that you see on the catalog are created by professionals. By professionals, I mean they are either SEBI registered analysts, investment advisors, or PMSs, right? So they have enough credentials to create these small cases and manage them as well via rebalances that they provide. The other part about small cases is that there are no exit loads. So for example, today you invest in a small case and you decide that you want that money for some exigent situation, say 3 months later, 6 months later, 1 year later. There is no exit load, meaning you don't have to pay a penalty or something for removing the money. It's your money always, right? So there is no exit load on small cases. Right. Next slide. So who creates these small cases? Like I just told you, They are created or curated and managed by research professionals who eat, breathe, and live the markets, right? So they know in their field, so there are different managers who are, great at some strategy. For example, there's something called as thematic, the fundamental, quantamental, right? Then there is something called as growth, momentum, uh, micro cap, so on and so forth. So each of these managers are experts in their own fields, and whichever suits you or whichever is you take liking to, you can start investing in them. Next slide, please.
So, Pavna, I just want to quickly take Varna's question here. So, what she was saying was, I'm not asked. So, the question she was asking about the difference between a basket of stocks and Smallcase. So, she wasn't referring to another platform specifically.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, a basket of stock is created by you, right? So, you are putting all of these stocks together versus a Smallcase. You have the flexibility of creating your own as well if you want, or you can invest in a pre-built, professionally made Smallcase as well, right? So that is the difference. And apart from that, the other point also would be that, when you're creating your own basket, you have to manage, as in you have to rebalance it, every now and then. You'll have to check if that particular stock is still doing good or not. So that is not there over here in Smallcases that are pre-built, right? So that is how the difference between a stock basket versus a Smallcase.
Got it. Sonika, we'll come to the tax bit in a little bit. So, Pavna, anything that you want to recover on this bit? I think if you can spend a moment on this at least.
Yeah. So when you're investing in single stocks, right, I think almost all the benefits of investing in Smallcases are there over here. The only, I think, negative would be that, ठीक है, market place में बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, right? But you don't really have a research expert who is managing it or who is telling that this is good or not for you. Unless, again, you're going to a stock guru or you're on the 500 different groups who will tell you what to invest and what not to invest in, right? So this will be your single source of truth for you. Second thing is, it's easy to understand. Today, if I tell you La Opala, right? I honestly didn't know what La Opala was until I went and Googled it myself, right? Versus when I tell you electric mobility Smallcase, you know that I'm talking about something to do with electric vehicle ecosystem. When I tell you affordable housing, you know I'm talking about the affordable housing scheme by the government. Or if I tell you top 100 stocks, it means that you're investing in top 100 stocks in the market, right? So it's easy to understand for you. And like I said earlier, it is diversified because one basket has a minimum of 2 stocks and a maximum of 50 stocks. So this is the basic difference that are there between single stocks and Smallcases. Again, you can, if you know everything about the markets and you have the time to do all of the research, then you can invest in single stocks. It's just that Smallcases gives you that edge. So what happens is, somebody who's starting does not want to falter or want to walk on the tightrope. Can you actually opt for Smallcases? Once you're comfortable, then you can stay invested in Smallcase and also start exploring other options that are available in the market, like single stocks, mutual funds, and so on and so forth. Right. So that's about, this.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. This
Right.
I think is going to cover a lot of questions people have.
Yeah. So Smallcase gives that, we have built this platform, this product for over like 6 years now, and we have zeroed in on what's best and what's expected from people, right? Based on feedback, based on our own research, and so on and so forth. So these 9 features, obviously there are more, but these 9 features are what makes Smallcases very strong and helps you build a very good portfolio. So first is find your Smallcase. Is it possible for me to share my screen?
Sure. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Right. So today, when I click on discover, you see this particular. So if everybody's in front of your system, you can as well explore Smallcase on your own, right? So today, when you check out small cases, you have something called as Find My Small Case. This helps you because there are, like I said, 700 small cases. Sometimes what happens is you get overwhelmed with the amount of choice you have, right? So this particular feature helps you zero in on what you want, right? Based on a theme or a strategy called core satellite, right? So this is all weather investing. If you want to take more risk, then you have these small cases here, and then so on and so forth. So this is
So just to talk about the discovery part here, I think the reason that we also are integrating with small case, right, is we have curated specific small cases for
correct.
the different goals, as well as for all the different parameters that you may be looking at while you want to invest, depending on what you want to achieve from your investment. So when small case does go live on basis, you all will have that curated list. And we'll also have a masterclass later on that to sort of go through that list as well.
Yeah. That is one. And apart from that, now I was telling you about electric mobility earlier. I'll just quickly show you one small case and everything that comes in a particular small case page for any small case, that basis will go live with, right? So name, obviously, and then there is a simple one-line description that will give you an overview of what the small case is going to be about, right? And it will give you something called as Kager. Now, what a Kager is it's obviously compounded annual growth rate, and there is something called as 4-year Kager. Whereas for a different small case, say if I'm choosing of all weather investing, then okay, this is also 4-year. Let me choose a different one. So dividend aristocrat has a 6-year Kager. So basically what this means is this small case went live 6 years ago, whereas all weather investing went live 4 years ago. So now you can decide on your own that for 4 years now, the compounded annual growth rate has been 12% versus for a different small case, which was probably recently launched, right, could have a 70% returns, right? So that is because it was recently launched and not launched 5-6 years back, right? I hope there's no doubt or confusion here. Do let me know if I need to clarify anything on this. Right. For example, now this small case called Right Momentum has a 92% Kager. And it might shock some people as to how can something give 92% return. That is because this was launched 1 year ago. And that's the percentage it has written in just last 1 year. And market has been favorable, which is why the small case, probably has performed better. Right. Versus a small case like all weather investing, it has been there in the market for 4 years and it has consistently given 12% returns. Right. So that is about Kager. Next is volatility. For somebody like me, I usually choose something very low volatile because I don't have the risk taking appetite yet. Right. If there is a loss, then my loss incurring capacity is also low, which is why I will choose a low volatile small case versus other small cases that are available in the market. So if I choose high volatility, then it will show me all highly volatile small cases. What do I mean by volatility? Is that markets go up and down. The amount that fluctuates after you invest, the investment, see, fluctuation is expected in the investment made in this particular small case. That's what high volatility means, right? So that you're well informed before making a decision. We have made this option available, right? The next in line would be the entire research explanation as to why you should invest in this particular small case. It gives you full explanation as to what is expected from this small case and what was added to this particular small case, right? And then you have different things over here. Blog post if you want to read more, right? Or if you want to check out the methodology, or there is something called as a fact sheet which will give you everything in one place, right? So this is what we have. Should I also take them through an investing cycle?
Not at the moment, Pavna. I
Cool.
think, So I think a ton of this content you will find very shortly within Basis as well. I think the content that will help us make the choices if we want to spend more time understanding small case, etc. So a week or so from now, you should be able to see this stuff, within basis. I think I'll just continue. I'll just go back to my deck, and I think people were very curious about understanding whether lump sums or SIPs, etc. Let's.
Correct. So now I have covered tracking performance, and I have also covered creating, which is there on the platform, and you can simply create a small case that you like, right? The other features that are available here, like investing more, rebalancing, SIP, manage, portfolio health, and partial exit, I'll just walk you through very briefly, right? So each small case has a different rebalance cycle provided by the small case manager, right? So as soon as the small case is reviewed by the managers, you will get a notification saying that this particular small case is reviewed. You can apply rebalance, right? So as soon as you apply rebalance, you will get the so if you have to invest more, you invest more, or if you get something in return, it will be added to your demat account, right? So that is rebalancing. Some small cases have a quarterly rebalance cycle, whereas others have like a yearly or a monthly rebalance cycle, and so on and so forth. This you can check on the small case platform itself, where I showed you fact sheet, right? Next in line is portfolio health. I will show this in detail in the next slide, so I will not spend a lot of time over here. SIP. So SIP, we have different installments that you can choose from. We have, again, depending on the broker, you have, weekly, monthly, quarterly, so on and so forth. You can choose the installment as and when you like. Then some brokers have auto SIP, whereas other brokers have manual SIP. When it's an auto SIP, then you have to invest in the entire amount of the small case. So if a small case costs you 4,000 rupees, then the SIP amount is going to be 4,000 every month or every quarter, however you choose. Versus in an in a manual SIP, what will happen is it is done by weights. So your amount is going to be, for example, if it's I think 20,000 worth of small case, then your SIP is going to be 5,000. And once you finish the entire 5,000, karke, once you reach 20,000, you'll have bought the entire small case again by then, right? So that's how SIPs work, two types. Partial exit is nothing but, say today, all-weather investing costs about 5,000 rupees, but I have enough liquidity with me to invest, say, 1 lakh in it, right? Tomorrow, there is a situation where I have to exit some money. You need some money for some emergency. So you can invest up to 95,000 from it and stay, keep 5,000, still invested in that particular small case. That's what a partial exit is, versus a full exit, which you can do at any point in time, right? So this only works if you have invested more than the minimum amount that is suggested or recommended on the catalog. Invest more is the opposite of partial exit, where you have invested, say, 5,000 in it, and you have some more money now and you want to invest more in it, then you can invest more in the same small case. So manage works for people who know a lot about the markets and they feel that, okay, this particular stock has peaked and now I want to book profits from it. You can individually remove stocks from a particular small case and manage it, right? Create, we have already seen it. You can add whichever stock you like, which is listed on NSE, and start investing in it.
Got it. So I think at this point, Pavna, I do want to take, I think it falls under the whole manage scheme of things. So I do want to take one or two questions that we've got.
Yeah.
So I think to some extent, manage is also in the context of rebalancing. So wanted to understand the costs associated with rebalancing here. Yeah.
So Smallcase does not charge anything for any of the orders that I told you today, right? Be it rebalance, be it manage, be it invest more, be it SIP, it is only going to be brokerage, right? So Smallcase as a platform does not charge you anything. If the say certain brokers have charged a one-time fee on certain small cases, those small cases will cost you 100 rupees when you first buy the small case, right? Whereas some brokers do not have that charge. right? Apart from that, there is not going to be any extra charge for rebalancing a particular small case. And I see one comment on rebalance is not clear. What we mean by rebalance is today, say there's Amar Raja battery and say, I don't know, maybe Hyundai, right, in electric mobility at 20% and 50% and 50% weightage. Let's make it simple. Tomorrow, we might get a news that Hyundai is releasing more electric vehicles, and our research team of the windmill, capital feels that more weightage should be given to Hyundai, right? So they will reduce the weightage given to Amaraja battery and increase the weightage given to Hyundai, right? That is going to be your rebalance, right? It's one type of rebalance. Or tomorrow, if Hyundai pulls back and says that we are not going to be in electric vehicle segment, then they will remove that particular stock and add another company which is going to be invested or which is going to work on the electric vehicle segment. That is what a rebalance is. Please do let me know if there are any more questions on rebalancing.
Okay, I have a question here, Pavna. Is rebalancing, can I say that don't rebalance my portfolio? That's not an option. Or
Yes,
that's
yes.
okay.
No.
Okay.
So nobody is going to apply rebalance to your invested small case. You have to apply it. It's
Got it.
completely,
Okay.
yeah. So say, for example, rebalance was released today for a particular small case and you don't want to apply it. It's completely okay. There is an option called skip. You can simply skip that particular rebalance, right?
Got it.
But if you want to apply it, say 15 days later, when you have little more money with you, that is also okay. You can always apply rebalance.
Got it. So I think I just want to take Hussaina's question here. In terms of cost, she's also talking about taxes applicable. So when there is rebalancing happening on my portfolio, so there will automatically be some taxes that come into play.
Yes.
Like let's assume we bought an electric vehicle stock today, and we're seeing it doing really well, and we're rebalancing and selling it 5 months later, which is a short-term gain, of course. So there will be taxes applicable there.
Yes. All tax that would be applicable when you're buying stock is applicable here. It's the exact same thing, no difference there. So your STCG or LTCG will be applicable here as well.
So then, Pavna,
Yeah,
so
for
the
those-
total cost would be essentially the brokerage as well as the taxes that you may have to pay.
Yes.
Okay. And the same thing could be applied to a mutual fund where essentially within your expense ratio is where most of these costs are then added in a mutual fund.
Yeah, but then the cost in a mutual fund can, go up to 2.5%, right? Versus here, it's more apparent to you. So if you don't apply a rebalance, say for 1 year, then you're effectively not getting any STCG, you're only gaining LTCG taxes. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's not a competition. Obviously both can coexist.
I think everything is in a portfolio, at least when it comes to equities, a lot of things are complementary to one another. It's not like you said, it's not competing investment options.
Yeah.
Any questions up until now? And then I'm saying up until now because we want to discuss relevant parts. We will give a couple of moments for questions that may not have been covered in the scope of the conversation so far. I think this is relevant. Do we get a tax report of sorts? I'm guessing we're talking about a capital gain statement of sorts. Do we get this at the end of the year?
I don't think so right now, but I can definitely, put this up in our product discussions.
Sure. Okay. All right. Okay. We will just move forward. Before which I do have one or two other questions, Farrell. I'm just going to launch that. Just give me a second. Because I think that is very relevant to this entire conversation that we are having. Okay, what about 43 of us in the room? If we can all quickly respond to this. Okay, almost 20% of us are saying we don't have a demat account. All right. 70% of us have a demat account. Couple of us have one which we don't operate. Would be good to know. Is it like lying dormant, or is there somebody else who operates that account on your behalf? Just going to give this like a couple of seconds more. Would request everyone to quickly respond so we can move on. And this is going to tie into the next part of what we're going to talk about, which I'll allow Pavna and Rujul to walk us through the next piece. Yeah. And I'm just going to end this poll. Yes, I think good to know. A lot of us have Demat accounts here. I think the number which says no, we'll probably change that, especially if you want to get started with small case investing. And I think this is very important for us to talk about. If you can walk us through this piece.
Yeah. Is it possible for me to share screen so that I can show how this functions?
I think we'll always come back to this. Let's just walk through the whole, like, just what we need, especially to get started, and we'll come back to this. I think that's more in the context of volatility, etc. So we'll come back to this, or probably actually deal with it in our part 2 when we get into specific small cases discussion. Yeah. So yeah, I think Rujul, Pavna will lead you all to this phase.
Cool. Shall I?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So for investing in a small case, of course, you'll need a Demat account, right? If you have an existing broker and it's one of the 14 brokers that we have tied up with, then you can immediately start investing. Or if you do not have a broking account, then I think Rujul will, help you here, or Basis will help you here. Right?
Yeah, we'll on Basis itself, we'll be able to open a Demat account and do the entire integration. We are integrating through Smallcase with the country's best brokers and the largest brokers as well. So you'll be able to do it seamlessly online on the app. Yeah, sorry, Bhavna, go ahead.
No problem. So with small cases, money is deducted from your trading account. Stocks that you have purchased are delivered directly to your Demat account, and dividends are paid to your bank account. So everything is in your control. Everything is with you, and you have complete control over all of your investments with small cases, right? So you don't have to worry about where your money is going or if you have control over it or not. You can exit it anytime you want, and you can use it however you like it. If you don't like a particular stock in a small case, then you can obviously not invest in it, right? And then invest in whatever you like, right? Obviously, it's going to change the returns that it will provide you, but then that autonomy is given to you, rather that freedom is given to you to do what you like with your portfolio.
I think, Pavna, we have a relevant question here. So Ayushi is asking, what is the difference in directly trading from Zerodha or any other broker platforms versus buying from Smallcase?
Like I said, with Smallcase, you're buying a curated basket of stock, which is again managed by research professionals. Versus when you're buying a single stock, I showed you the table there, which showed you the difference between investing in a single stock versus investing in a small case, right? So that's the difference. Again, you can buy small cases also from broker platforms. You don't have to buy it from smallcase.com itself. You can buy it from broker platforms as well. Again, Basis also is going to have a curated list of small cases that is going to help you with various like I said, I think goals and different risk appetites that you have, so on and so forth. So I think staying, I think if you wait for like 2 weeks, you will have all of that, at your fingertips. I'll take this question. How safe would be buying from small case, right? So when your equity market itself is a slightly riskier option, right, when compared to FD or other investment options that you have, right? Small case is just a platform that helps research advisors curate their baskets and offer it to you in a simplified manner. So our aim is to simplify investing for you. Safety is completely left to you. If you want to invest in a low volatile small case, or you want to invest in a high volatile small case, is completely left to you, right? And we have been doing this for 5 years now, and we have simplified investing for close to 45 lakh users, right? So that's our credentials today. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, and I think also the fact that the rules of the game don't change, right? This is still an equity investment.
Yeah.
Sure, even within equity, there are different categories. We're talking about large cap, which may be slightly, probably, at least like theoretically less risky than mid cap stocks or small cap stocks, especially if you go ahead and you say, I want to choose a focused portfolio. If you're talking a very sector specific portfolio, then there will be a high risk. So I think when it comes to equities, unfortunately, there is no concept of no risk unless somebody is giving us a guarantee of where the markets are going or the direction it's going. Within that, I think what is helpful and what we're doing at Basis is curating multiple portfolios that will be suitable to your risk profile. And of course, you'll be very well aware of the choice you're making and the risks associated with that particular investment.
Correct. I see two questions, I think, on access fee and maybe this thing as well. Should I take that?
Yes,
just quickly
please.
clarify that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, some managers have offered their small cases for free, meaning whatever the broker charges on brokerage plus that 100 charge or that one-time fee, whatever brokers charge. Apart from that, for providing you the research, some managers charge you an access fee, right? So that is applicable for some managers, not for all. So the small cases that Basis is going to live with is Windmill Capital, right?
Yeah, we have a curated list which are free small cases right now. Yes.
Correct.
So you won't have to pay.
Correct. So on Basis, you will not have to worry about access fee because it is going to be free small cases offered by Windmill Capital, right? So there will be no extra charges when you're investing on, via Basis, right? If you're investing outside, then you'll have to check out these access fee and invest accordingly.
Cool. So Rujul, you want to quickly walk us through this bit?
Yeah. So I think in the next 2 weeks, you all will see an update on the app that allows you to start investing in small case through Basis itself. So knowing, and we're solving these problems for us as well. So knowing you all and knowing our audience, what we've done is we've curated a specific list of small cases that apply for, let's say, different goals, different ideas, and also at what stage you are in your investing journey, which we've realized is very, very important for us, right? So the way we're really going to do this is, if you're a first-time investor, we've curated a couple of small cases that work specifically for you and how you can get started with that one click of investing. You don't have to worry about it for the longer term. We also have a suggested bucket where we understand that some of us prefer equity, we want to get started, but we're real concerned about the volatility and the risk factor. So it allows you to diversify your investments across different asset classes. So think of equity with gold, equity with debt, and pooling all of those asset classes together and investing in, again, one click, right? And then finally, we also have a short list of small cases for our users who are more advanced in their journey, who sort of invested in, let's say, small cases before or mutual funds before, and they, just want more control. They want more analysis-driven, sector-driven investing as well. And so we're looking at different sectors that we believe will do well, and we also think are good small cases to invest in. So yeah. So you can, you'll see the list soon. And of course, we'll be available if you have any questions. You can post them on the Basis community as well.
I see a question from Ayushi. So yes, Ayushi, you will be investing via Basis in small case. And yes, everything else remains the same. The stocks are yours, the dividends are yours, everything else is yours from there now. We're just making this entire investing procedure super easy and super relevant for women who are choosing to invest in Small cases bases everything that Rujul just mentioned, bases our goals, risk profile, which stage of investment we are in. Am I a beginner? Have I been investing for a couple of years? Do I want a more evolved small case as an investment? So you'll be able to make these choices on the platform. And I'm gonna, I think we're at least done with our conversation part of it, but it will be super useful for now to pick up any questions that went unanswered and which we saved for later. So it would be good if you want to repost your question. I'll also scroll up and look up the questions that went unanswered. If there's anything else you want to ask us, please feel free to put it in the chat box and or raise your hand and we'll unmute you and we can take up those very specific questions that you might have. What will also be really helpful to us, since this is our first conversation on Smallcase, for those who are comfortable, if you can take a minute and I'm going to stop sharing my screen for that. If you could feel free to put your video on and would love to actually see a bunch of faces. It's very impersonal talking to a screen. I can see only Rujul and Pavna here, especially on my screen. Would just love to see your, would just love to see you folks. Shishi, we'll take your question. In fact, that's a question even I had. We'll take up that question now. Ayushi, yes, we will be doing the research. You will find the research on basis related to the very specific portfolio that you are choosing to invest in. Hi, Shubhi. I love seeing faces who keep coming back to our masterclasses because it's such a validation of everything that we're building with faces here. Cool. I think we'll take the questions now. So I'll take Shishti's question. I read somewhere, and Pavna, if you could just help us with it. I read somewhere that if a small case is showing a return of 10%, the actual return is 6 or 7%. If that's true, then why? And if not, then what's the right answer there?
No, that's not true. We have been very transparent with what we show on the platform, because obviously a bigger chunk of who invest in small cases are first-time investors. So if we are putting say 10%, then it means that it has given 10%, right? So it becomes important to label it right. So previously, about I think 1.5 years back, we did not have the label that I showed you earlier in the session today, 6-year CAGR, 4-year CAGR. That 6-year, 4-year was missing from the label, which is what I think sort of was misunderstood, right? Which we have changed now, and we have added those labels so that it's easier for you to understand as to why a particular small case is just 12% versus other small cases like 92%, because there is a time difference and there is also the boost that particular small case gets from the market movement itself. Right. So I hope that answers your question.
And I think one more thing here, which I used to find very confusing as an early investor, I'm talking generally in equity markets, right? When you look at the return, it is going to be your personal return might be different, for the sole reason that once you sell an investment, whether it's a fund or a stock or a small case, taxes apply, right? So and those taxes are going to be applicable whether it's short term, long term. So don't confuse that bit. While a return may look like a 10 or a 12%, your situation based on when you liquidate that investment might make it a short term return, right? Might mean your taxes are higher, hence your return is maybe my portfolio is a short term one, so my return will be 1 or 2% lesser than Rujul, for instance, just because of the whole tax piece. So yeah. So Tejani, we're not going to get into any recommendations of small cases here. Pavna, if we could answer that question without getting into specific recommendations, I think it would be helpful. A couple of small cases that have manual SIPs.
No. So there is no small case that has the label called this as manual SIP, this as auto SIP. It's about the broker that you choose. Some brokers offer auto SIP, right? Whereas some brokers don't offer it. for operational reasons, right? And most of these brokers that have auto SIP also have an option for you to choose manual SIP, right? So if manual SIP is what you're going for, then you always have the option of investing in small cases, in all small cases, whichever one you want, in manual method, by choosing that option while you're investing. So
Cool. This is a great question, and I'm going to take this. What happens if the small case that you are invested in is no longer maintained? If something like that even happens, if a small case is shutting down or whatever the situation might be, will I be left with those stocks that were bought in my portfolio?
Yeah. So when you say maintain, there are two ways to look at it. One is if a manager stops rebalancing it or reviewing it, that has actually not happened so far, at least as far as I've seen. But the other side of it is if somebody is sunsetting a particular small case, meaning that they are releasing a note saying that, you know, we are stopping this particular small case. In our terms, we call it a play out. Okay, we play out a particular small case. That happens, for example, now tomorrow, if electric vehicle no longer is going to be the focus, then that small case, if we are going to sunset, then you will get a notification or an email that says that we are going to play out this small case and there will be no rebalance updates on this henceforth. Whatever you have invested in, you can continue to hold it, or if you don't want to stay invested in it, you can exit it. Unless you take an action, there will be no changes made to stocks that you already hold.
So I hope, Manan, that was helpful. Yeah, I'm going to take Ayushi and then Shabir's question. And yeah, just want to wrap this up in time. So in case you all have any questions, please put them in the chat box very quickly. Yeah, so Ayushi's question is, what is the expected time we should be investing in small case? Or that's like personal and totally dependent on us?
It is personal to you. It is personal based on various parameters. So very simply, like some small cases are ideal for long term, where you're keeping them for where we are sorry. So some small cases you can stay invested for a long term because the theme also is set for long term theme or strategy that it based on, whereas some small cases are built for short term itself, right? So what you for you to invest in a particular small case, you'll have to understand the idea behind it and invest accordingly. So the time frame is completely left to you.
Got it. And yeah, I want to take this one. From Shabi, if I start investing in a free access small case, which is free right now, is there a possibility that the broker might start charging in the future, and then I will need to start paying my fees on that one?
I've never faced this so far, right? So I don't really think that should happen, but I think that is completely the manager's choice here, right? Because he's the one who's providing research to you. So that ideally shouldn't happen, but I'm withholding myself from answering in complete black and white as to it will happen or it will not happen.
Got it. Okay. Just one last question, Rujul, you want to take this one? Are even windmill small cases going to be access fee free or basis?
Yeah, I just answered that. So only free small cases for now, but definitely like more details upcoming very, very soon.
Cool. So I think, yeah, we're right at the end of the hour. Unless there are any questions, can literally probably take one or two more. But definitely stay tuned. We're going to do one more intro conversation like this. So in case any folks missed out, your friends, colleagues, etc., stay tuned for that. And we will also have a part 2 of the discussion once we have the portfolios listed. I do know you all will have a lot more questions then versus now. So we'll dive a little deeper into small case very specifically. Thank you, Pavna, for doing this with us. Hopefully, this was a helpful conversation for all you folks who joined in. I was just noting the pattern of the questions, and funnily enough, our questions are very similar to one another, very relevant in terms of costs, in terms of taxes, in terms of fees, in terms of like everything else, right? So I think, yeah, we'd love to see you back in a small case conversation or any other. We do have for those who've not, and I'm seeing a couple of familiar faces, and I do want to bring this up because I know they joined in our conversations in the past. And for instance, I see Devi here, I see Padmaja here, who'd joined in the past, possibly like then seen our health insurance and gone about making the right health insurance choice for herself. So we do have a conversation happening on the 16th, which I'm looking most forward to. It's a conversation literally, and we struggle with this. I've been getting a question, even personally, and we see this even on basis that as women, we're not comfortable talking about money, right? Like whether it's to a partner, whether it's to our parents, especially fathers, and so on and so forth. So on 16th, we're actually having a community discussion just on this topic, where we'll share our experiences, we'll share our learnings, we'll share how we made this easy for ourselves. Some folks are bringing their partners to this chat. So it'll be really helpful for everyone. We do have one happening on gold as well, on investing in gold, and we have another one happening on health insurance through the month. So stay tuned for those, join into those conversations, which may be most relevant to you. And yes, in the context of this entire piece, Small Case is going live very soon. We will see you back in this room for a deep dive into the portfolios and probably one or two more intro, because a lot of people still need to familiarize themselves with small cases and all these questions that we had of stocks versus small case or mutual funds versus small case. We'll answer all of these all over again. So thank you everyone for joining us. Oh, Tejani, very good point. Yes, I think we should have one. We'll probably pick that up for March and it's the right time. Let's have one on taxation as well. We'll definitely do this and stay tuned. Feedback like noted, we'll launch this very quickly. Yeah, thanks everyone and have a good evening and the rest of the week.